Welcome to the SVG-TV News for Tuesday, October 20th. I'm Khalil Kato with the details. 32 candidates from the Unity Labour Party, the New Democratic Party and the SVG Green Party handed in their nomination papers today at various locations in the 15 constituencies between 9 a.m. and noon. At the C.W. Prescott primary, the Unity Labour Party's candidate Luke Brown, accompanied by supporters, filed his nomination papers just before 10 a.m. The New Democratic Party's first-time candidate Fitzgerald Bramble followed about an hour later, also accompanied by a group of supporters.
A large group of supporters accompanied the ULP's East Kingstown candidate Luke Brown to the C.W. Prescott Primary School to present his nomination papers. This year is his third election as a candidate for the Unity Labour Party and is quite au fait with the nomination process. After filing his papers, Brown told SVGTV News that things went smoothly.
This morning I was able to present myself to the returning officer in the constituency and duly sign my declaration and also present her with a form which was submitted by actually there are more than 6 persons who squeezed on their name on it, who recommended me to go forward as the candidate for East Kingstown in these upcoming elections. I'd like to first of all thank those persons who signed the form, as well as the significant number of persons here today. You could see them in the background.
Brown, who is a Rhodes Scholar, served as a senator in Parliament, and he contested the 2010 and 2015 elections and lost to former political leader of the New Democratic Party, Arnhem Eustace. However, Brown expressed confidence that this time he will be bringing home the seat.
Ultimately, a victory for me in these upcoming elections would be more than anything else a victory for the people of the constituency overall, because these individuals have the opportunity to have representation from the constituency, for the constituency. I'm a man that has shown great commitment, quite apart from the fact that I've spent all my life in the constituency. I've shown great commitment to the cause and the task.
The New Democratic Party's Fitzgerald Bramble, a first-timer, arrived to present his nomination papers just about 11 a.m. He arrived with his supporters and his elderly mother. After filing his papers, he came out to greet waiting supporters.
Everything went well. The process went quite smoothly. Of course, we know between 12 and 1, that's an opportunity for anyone who wants to make an objection so to do. But we are confident that, you know, if by any chance there's an objection lodged, that we're fine. I have met all the criteria to be nominated as a candidate.
For SVGTV News, Larissa Pogsley-Kidd.
Bramble has been given the all-clear to contest the East Kingstown seat for his party. His eligibility as a candidate was being questioned, with persons saying that he had not been living in the state for 12 months. Bramble and his supporters waited until after 1 p.m. to ensure that no one challenged his nomination.
Fitzgerald Bramble celebrated his nomination this afternoon after patiently waiting for more than an hour and a half in the compound of the C.W. Prescott Primary School. With supporters by his side, an elated Bramble said it was something he expected.
Well, no objections have been lodged against my nomination, which is what I expected anyway. You know, in this country, there's so many things that's wrong with this country. And one of the things that's very wrong with this country is our democracy right now. People need to be able to be free to speak and to be able to exercise their democratic right in this country. And a New Democratic Party's government will make sure that that happens.
After presenting his nomination papers earlier, Bramble's mother was emotional about the possibility of her son representing East Kingstown.
Too much, but God is in charge. Amen. God is in charge of Fitz. He was born a ruler, and he will continue.
Bramble is contesting the East Kingstown seat for the first time after the baton was handed over to him by former leader of the NDP, Arnhem Eustace. Leader of the opposition, Dr. Godwin Friday, who went by to lend his support, said that persons were tense about Bramble's nomination and his eligibility.
There's one coming on November the 5th.
Following the nomination, Bramble and supporters took to the streets in Kingstown in celebration. For SVGTV News, Larissa Pogsley-Kidd.
5 candidates who are contesting the East St. George and West St. George seats successfully completed their nominations today. They all met the requirements, having 6 eligible registered voters sign their documents, presented their statutory declaration, as well as payment of their $500 in cash. First-time candidates Curtis King for the ULP and K. Bacchus, but that should be K. Batiste Brown, for the NDP in West St. George were each escorted by a large group of supporters to the Bel-Air Government School to file their nomination papers. And at the East St. George nomination station at the Caliacqua Town Hall, 3 candidates submitted their nomination forms. A large group of cheering supporters accompanied the ULP's Camilo Gonzalez, while a smaller group accompanied NDP's first-time candidate Laverne Velox to the nomination venue. The Green Party's Ivan O'Neill, unaccompanied, also successfully submitted his nomination papers.
The first-time candidate for East St. George, Laverne Velox, was the first contender to submit her nomination papers. Accompanied by 12 beaming supporters, she told SVG-TV that the process was smoother than she envisioned. And with that out of the way, there is a lot of work to be done in the constituency as the general election draw closer.
I am now satisfied that I am definitely a candidate in the elections of November 5th. So let's get the ball going, and we got an election to win.
Second-time ULP candidate for the East St. George, Camilo Gonzalez, was upbeat on completion of the nomination exercise. Accompanied by more than 70 supporters, he told SVG-TV News that the nomination process was thorough and professionally done. He is looking ahead for a win in the constituency and for his party.
The professionals of the electoral office did a wonderful job. We had our nominators. We had nominators from all across the constituency, and I'm very honored that they see fit to nominate me again for this very important role to represent the people of East St. George.
The Green Party's Ivan O'Neill went unaccompanied to submit his nomination papers. He later spoke to SVG-TV News, noting the financial challenges of his campaign, but expresses a desire for a change in government.
Oh, quite smoothly. And I'm very, very pleased. And I'm hoping that, the ice will break and we'll be able to get the ULP out of office. It's been a little long. Four terms, many years, and the economy moving backwards.
Over in West St. George, the NDP's candidate Kay Bacchus Batties, who walked from the party's office with a group of supporters, said they encountered some hiccups on their way to the nomination station. However, the first-time candidate said the nomination process was great.
Other side passed. They were all in their SUVs and their Jeeps, etc., the truck. They deliberately passed us. They were driving, we are walking, and they stopped in the road to block us. But we, of course, maintained our dignity. My team maintained our dignity. We went up and successfully nominated.
And the ULP's West St. George contender, Curtis King, said that the nomination process was very smooth. Apart from the large group of ULP supporters who accompanied him to the Bel-Air Government School, King also had family present. King said that he is very confident of winning, and he is urging the people of West St. George to go out early to vote on November 5th.
The other side, they were on the highway when we were coming up, and somebody in that entourage had stopped their vehicle, but good sense prevailed, and eventually we continued on our way. We made it to the school on time and did the necessary paperwork, and we are here. We are very happy because we have completed the process.
For SVG-TV News, Nashika Davis.
Supporters of the 2 main political parties, the Unity Labour Party and the New Democratic Party, NDP, were energized for nomination day, which saw several activities in the respective constituencies. Here's a snippet of the nomination day activities.
You are here, moving in our midst.
My papers. Victory!
The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Union has given notice that it intends to take the government to court for its refusal to grant leave to teacher Chevron John to contest the November 5th general elections. John is the New Democratic Party's candidate for the North Windward constituency. The union said at a news conference today that an application was made by John for 6 months' leaves and it was denied, forcing her to resign from her Teacher 5 position to contest the general elections. At today's news conference, lawyer representing the teachers union, Jomo Thomas, said the government seemed not to have learned anything or refused to uphold the Court of Appeals ruling in January of 2019. This was in relation to the case brought by the union on behalf of 3 of its members who unsuccessfully contested the 2010 general elections on the NDP ticket: Addison Thomas, Kenroy Johnson, and Elvis Daniel.
Like I said, it's either they did not remember the decision, or they failed to read the decision, or it is clearly a flouting of the authority of the court, because it flies in the face of this decision for the Public Service Commission, having been so reprimanded by the court, to come and write an almost identical letter to the one which was written a decade before. Because it is essentially saying, yeah, we signed a collective bargaining agreement with you, but we have no intention, absolutely no intention of following it, of adhering to it. And that is the state of play in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Thomas said John's case and the decision of the relevant authorities to deny her leave to contest the elections, forcing her to resign as a teacher, is a clear violation of the ruling of the Court of Appeal and brings into sharp focus the due process of the law.
And whether we have a country of laws, as reflected in the decision by our Court of Appeal, or we have a country of men and women. And I think that we have to pay close attention to these developments.
The president of the SVG Teachers Union, Oswald Robinson, said it is unfortunate that the union has to continue to battle the government in court on such matters, as it refused to uphold the collective agreement signed with the union.
Council would have said it is a clear indication that the government, the Service Commission, all the relevant authorities who would have collaborated in giving instruction that a letter of this sort would have been written as a response to Chevron Louis John, that they are making a mockery of the whole situation. It clearly shows that they are not serious about democracy, you know, and we have also quoted the ILO UNESCO 1966 document, which clearly states, the document is entitled Recommendations Concerning the Status of Teachers, and one of the articles is synonymous with Article 16, where it encourages teachers to run for higher office, and if unsuccessful, all benefits would be remain intact. So the government would have signed on to that document also, and still, you know, have not really lived up to its expectation, and it is very, very unacceptable. It is unacceptable.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines has recorded 1 new COVID-19 case today. The adult traveler arrived from the USA on Sunday with a negative SARS-CoV-2 PCR test result. A COVID-19 update from NEMO says the person will remain in isolation until cleared by 2 negative PCR test results, and all of the close contacts have been informed and will continue in quarantine as required under the medical officer's orders. St. Vincent and the Grenadines has now recorded a total of 68 COVID-19 cases, 64 of which have recovered, leaving 4 active cases. The Health Services Subcommittee of the National Emergency Committee Coronavirus Task Force is urging continued compliance with all protocols in place, which are designed to protect the public. A village road at Orange Hill, constructed under the Basic Needs Trust Fund (BNTF), was officially opened yesterday. The project was funded by the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Caribbean Development Bank to the tune of $775,000. It was built to improve access to pedestrian and vehicular traffic throughout the village. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves commended the BNTF, the implementing agency, for doing a good job and thanked the Caribbean Development Bank for assisting with the financing of the project.
And I'm very pleased with the work that the BNTF has been doing. And I want to thank the Caribbean Development Bank for contributing in excess of $750,000 for this particular village project, which would bring great comfort to the people in the community.
A parliamentary representative for the North Windward constituency, Montgomery Daniel, said the Orange Hill Village Road project is a blessing to the people. He also commented on the number of road projects done in the constituency by this administration.
But today, after 19.5 years in government, you have 1,950 foot of road being done, as against the previous administration that would have done 100 foot of road for this part of the constituency. We have been doing well, not only for this constituency and not only for Orange Hill. Even within my own ministry.
MP for South Central Windward, Saboto Caesar, who held the responsibility for the BNTF as Minister of Agriculture, noted that Daniel had been pushing to have this and other projects done in the constituency.
For the Basic Needs Trust Fund, I have to interact with all other cabinet colleagues when it comes to projects. And I remember when we were preparing for the budget, and Minister Daniel brought his list. I asked Minister Daniel, did you bring a list of somebody else? Because the list that he brought from North Windward, I said, Minister Daniel, like you want all the projects. But this is a man who you have voted for. And I must tell you, he has done an excellent job and will continue to do great works. Not only for the people of Orange Hill, but for the people of North Windward.
Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of Austin Elson Gloucester, a 35-year-old laborer of Barley, that occurred at about 9:15 a.m. on Saturday. The police say members of the Major Crimes Unit were alerted to a shooting incident at Paul's Avenue and, on arrival at the scene, found Gloucester's lifeless body with what appeared to be gunshot wounds. The district medical officer pronounced him dead, and the coroner gave permission to remove the body. A post-mortem examination will be conducted. And police have arrested and charged Uroy Lewis, a 29-year-old farmer of Diamonds, with assault. The accused man allegedly assaulted a 25-year-old self-employed woman, also of Diamonds, by pointing a gun at her with the intent to commit bodily harm. The incident allegedly occurred at about 4 p.m. last Thursday. The accused man is expected to appear at the Serious Offences Court to answer to the charge.